ScouterStan. Want to talk a little bit about the OA. That's why I've already got it on. I don't have to do anything special. I tell you what, the Order of the Arrow is a wonderful organization. And it started many years ago, and it started at summer camps. And it kind of evolved into what it is today. So there's a lot of history, and I'm giving you a hint. Next season, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the Order of the Arrow. So all you arrowmen who are just brand new, or ones that are just confused, you've been in and out, and I'm going to talk about what the difference is between lodges and chapters. Now, there are similarities between a lodge and chapter, just like a council and districts. And a lot of times the chapter is divided off by district. Now, sometimes there's exceptions to every rule, okay, as far as how that structure works. But a lodge has many chapters. That's how that works. It's a lot like a Cub Scout pack has a lot of dens, or a scout troop that has a lot of patrols. There is a structure there. Now, in a lodge, there is a youth that's in charge of the group. In a lodge, that youth takes care of all of the chapters within the lodge. That youth is a lot like a senior patrol leader, only on a larger scale. A chapter, on the other hand, is a lot like a patrol. It's a smaller grouping, usually district-based, and they have a chief that runs that. And they report back to the lodge council. So that's how that structure is maintained. Now, all of this is youth run, youth led, and adults are advisors. There are advisors in the Order of the Arrow that help the youth do their job. And in a lodge-based thing, they do a lot of the decisions on what they are going to be doing for the year. They have to make decisions on all of the different programs and things that they're going to be doing. They also have to maintain all of the records. Whenever they do inductions, they have to make sure they have the name and address of each dues-paying member. So there's a lot of paperwork. When they go and do an event, they have to have all of the paperwork that they would normally be generated. That's super important for the council and lodge to handle. The lodge takes care of any purchasing, any accounting, all of that stuff. They are the core of the management of the lodge. Very important to remember. They also take care of any policies that need to be in place, changed, amended, whatever. So that's something that the lodge does. The lodge will lead a contingent for national and regional events. The lodge actually has representation on the council's committee. So that is very important so that they can keep within any of the guidelines that are with camp. So a lot of them are attached, so they have to stay in tune with that program. They also actively work on lodge awards. This can be a banquet that's done by the lodge where all the chapters get together. That's usually where you have all of the award banquet that goes on. Now, chapters. This is where brothers in the order are more likely to see on an actual basis. Okay, the chapter is the local group that you would be a member of. Every single person that's in the Order of the Arrow belongs to a chapter, which belongs to a lodge. So that's an easy way to think of it. The chapter maintains the induction process. They do the election, they do the training, and they actually do a lot of that induction part. They might even do ceremonies towards that goal of inductions. In fact, I'm going to put a video. I'm going to put it up there. That video will tell you a little more about that. The local chapter has meetings, and they will usually be attached to a round table, which is a district thing. So that's important. You have to know when your meetings are. And I highly recommend going to them. All Arrow brothers should go to their meeting. Now, they also support ceremony teams. There are a lot of different kinds of ceremony teams. So that's something, if you're interested in that, there's a lot of regalia and a lot of things that need to be done. If you're into that, definitely go to your chapter's meetings and get involved. Now, keep this in mind. Every single chapter in a lodge, and every lodge throughout the United States, we are known as cheerful service. So we, as Arrowmen, need to do cheerful service. Your chapter should be doing, at a minimum, 2 projects for the community as the Order of the Arrow. So this is something that your chapter needs to be doing. Another thing that chapters often do, they are supportive of the lodge agenda. So if the lodge has a big induction and they have to have multiple ceremonies, chapters will step up with their ceremonies team and jump in and do some of those ceremonies for the lodge. So that is very important to keep that in mind, that chapters work with their lodge. As we know, there are a lot of chapters that are enormous. And because of that, they may be thought of in a way that might be thought of as a miniature lodge. When they're really big, they have a lot of different activities, a lot of different things that are going on, a lot of facets, and that becomes even more supportive of the lodge. And as a whole, it actually keeps it all together. So now that you know a little more about the structure of how all this works, I want you to commit to about a 50% of participation. Only 50%. I'd like 100, but 50%. Let's make that commitment to go to at least 50% of the activities, at least 50% of the meetings. If we did that, chapters and then lodges would do even better. I want you to make that commitment. I already did a video on this. I'm going to put it up there again. It's a video that's now what? That's I've gone through the process. Now what? Watch that video. Definitely want to do that. And OA is a wonderful brotherhood. We call it a brotherhood even though we've had for many years female brothers. It's a brotherhood. It's not, brother has no gender to it. So in this situation, that's kind of what we refer to as the brotherhood of the Order of the Arrow. And I know that you do great work out there. Please keep it up, and I will see you on the trail.